So something really funny just happened with social media as a whole now. With the TikTok ban coming in a couple days, well, I don't even know if the hearing has happened, but the ban is just supposed to come into effect on the 19th, the day before Trump's inauguration. You guys know that all that by now. Now, to those who might not know, there's an app by the name of Rednote, which is a fully Chinese-owned company. I think by Xiaomi. I think it's called. Excuse me, Xingji. I hope I said that right. The app is pretty much just meant to be the Chinese version of TikTok. It's owned by a Chinese domestic company. It was designed with, I think, nearly the same algorithm that TikTok uses. Very similar format. The only reason there is a Chinese TikTok version, like a TikTok that doesn't exist in China. Rednote exists because it was able to capitalize on China's version of TikTok's shortcomings, and pretty much gave the algorithm that TikTok is within the West and mainly America onto another app. Just became popular, and it was fairly popular in China for a good amount of time. With TikTok possibly being eradicated off the face of this earth, Rednote came into the spotlight, and it's pretty fucking funny. It's the biggest. Oh, they're a threat to. The argument of TikTok is that it's a threat to national security and data security, which everybody sells your data. Your data's never secure. It's just, look. Most people have an idea of how easy it is to get anybody's personal information and user data, especially if you actually run ads on any platform. It is very easy to purchase just user data in bulk. I think it's if you purchase it in the thousands, it's like a couple cents per user or something like that. So you cater the ad to whatever the user's profile is, and you can go from different platforms, different media, social media, platforms and all that, whatever. You could jump ship and buy user data in bulk to advertise towards. So everybody's selling your data constantly and always. There's no big difference of, but if the CCP has it, it's just like, it's good. With that logic, Riot Games should be off the face of the earth. With that logic, NetEase Games, which is the Marvel Rivals, I think, parent develop. I think it's like Marvel Rivals parent development company. There's a couple other companies that follow that, suit that is just like, they have Chinese roots. Yeah, because they have China has a massive population. I need to put this in perspective. With a larger populations comes with a lot of other chances. And a couple more million than the US, not So the idea that these companies are, inherently dangerous to the US just because they have ties to the CCP, which I can understand. The CCP as a political figure is a very ugly entity. It is quite literally one of the most sophisticated surveying networks on the planet. What the CCP is capable of, what they've already shown that they use as means of surveillance, is very scary, and it is very concerning. You think, even as of right now, anything you're using is not having a US equivalent of that? 100 fucking %. Our version's the NSA. That's it. Nobody talks about it like that because, China's bad. Look, I'm gonna be honest. I fuck with a lot of things that come out of Chinese domestic industries. Their cars. Don't get me wrong. I don't fuck with EVs that much, but their cars got class. But it's gonna scan your face, and I fucking do Twitch streaming. At this point, anybody can make a fucking face of my a scan of my face. I don't give a shit. I do this. I do a lot of other shit that involves it. So my persona, not to say that it's not important to me, but I definitely know there's already that exploits that could have been done if wanted to be done. Now, how far they could be taken, that's the question. But then again, it's up to me on how smart I am with my own personal, there's here's what I like doing. There's a gray zone of what you can protect in your data, and then there's definitely a secure zone. Get into your core devices is where it gets nasty. Everything outside of that, videos of you, information that's accessible just through other means of access. Like, okay, I go on Instagram sometimes and I look at these kind of videos. That data could be purchased very easily. Like, that's not my worry at all. Voice, video, face, all that yeah, I understand there could be use of exploit there, but it's really not gonna happen. You don't know why? Because it's already happening. It's not that big of a deal. With TikTok being banned, though, it's just really funny though, because we went from, oh, you think there are Chinese companies taking our data and selling it, even though this is a, you know, Singaporean based country or company, excuse me, that also operates independently within each respected country, meaning they have a TikTok American division. You think they're stealing your data, and you know, the largest internet browser in the world that allows everybody to traffic through their internet services through isn't? Oh, you're telling me the app where I send videos of cats singing Chinese music, Chinese rap, is a problem? Okay, that's nice. And then I'm not here to be the, oh, it infringes on the First Amendment. Look, if it does, if it doesn't, this is one of those things where it's like, okay, yeah, it might, but also this is a more of a matter of like, all right, they take this, it's kind of just like jump ship to Red Note, you know, like I'm gonna make the switch because it's a clean slate. Say you can actually monetize on there, which I actually want to see if you can. If you can monetize on Red Note, I'm making the fucking switch, and I'm gonna actually start taking shorts seriously. I haven't really done shorts just because they're not really my style. I prefer longer form, longer style. But if you can monetize on Red Note and it is fucking volatile right now, why the fuck not? And then if this sets the precedent of, oh, we just have to ban every Chinese foreign company that operates within the US, whether it's social media account or whatever industry it may be in, that's going to put a really dangerous precedent going forward. Because they did that with Huawei. They did that with the BDY cars, whatever the fuck they were called. The really popular Chinese EVs that were here in the US for like a very small amount of time. And mind you probably don't even know about it because they don't want you to know about it. And who's this fucking government regulation, like bureaucratical bodies and shit. The way to protect U.S. companies to make profits, and the reason they'd want to is because a lot of those U.S. companies that are, let's say, the top 500, like the S&P 500, excuse me, a lot of those companies have embezzlements or gifts to politicians, so they have politicians in their pocket. Why would a Chinese domestic company put financial interest into a politician unless it was the fact where they wanted to start, you know, possibly affecting our political climate? But then that raises the suspicion of, oh, well, that means our senators are bought by the Chinese, and we go back to McCarthyism. I'm sick. I don't want to go back to that shit. So it's more so like, okay, let's keep our pockets filled with American money from American companies rather than fill our pockets with American money by Chinese companies. And the thing is, a lot of Chinese companies already still operate within the confines of the U.S. In fact, when I lived in Florida, there was once, I think it was 2 Chinese companies that were operating as property owners, major property owners in Miami. One of them had purchased a lot of property or future property somewhere in the Brickell area to develop a really nice building that would be used for like offices and all that. But it's still, you know, it's still the start of Chinese companies taking roots in America to make investments because they do have some pretty, I want to say, adventurous ideas for businesses, and their designs. Like, look, people, I get it. China's government itself is really bad, but the people there are really nice. The people there are very smart. The people there are very, very daring when it comes to business. Like, I'm going to take Shanghai, for example. Shanghai is probably one of the most advanced cities in the world in terms of surveillance. But it is a very, very cool city to look at. And, like, before you're like, oh, yeah, but that's the whole point of it. It's meant to make you think China's all this and that. It's like, yeah, that's kind of the point. And at face value, it's really fucking cool. But anybody who's lived in a metropolitan like that, everybody knows it sucks cock to live in. Like, yeah, it's gonna be bad. There's cameras everywhere. Guess what? It's like China's New York. That's all it really is. It looks cool. I look at it, I'm like, oh, that's Night City. Like, I was playing Cyberpunk recently, so, you know. But, you know, it's just like, I understand why a government will fearmonger against another government because it's like hey, look, we're the good guys, they're the bad guys. The moment you start drawing the line, like crossing the line and understanding who both are, you start to realize there's very close similarities. It's a matter of just, they're bad, we're good, but we're doing this to protect you, they're doing this to hurt you. It's just like, nobody has your best interest in mind except you. And even then, I'm gonna go eat Red 40. Like, nobody has your best interest in mind. The idea of that a government has your best interest in mind is already flawed. And also, not to mention, I don't like delving into politics, but this is just something that I'd like to talk about just because it is prevalent. It is not only just the sake of TikTok, it's just the sake of how governments treat other governments, specifically the American government treating foreign governments, or particular China. Do I like Chinese government? Not at fucking all. Do I like what Chinese citizens have to offer for the sake of business in the US and abroad the world? Yes. You wanna know why? Because it pushes fucking challenge. Believe it or not, fucking China's government believes in communism. The people there are the most capitalist motherfuckers ever. Those motherfuckers will fight dime and fucking dollar to beat you in any sort of business. And it's good. You wanna know why? Because capitalism succeeds and fucking societies succeed off challenge. When there is constant fights going back and forth. There's a reason they banned the EVs here in the US, because they were selling them for, okay, Tesla isn't particularly expensive for EVs, but imagine if we made a $19,000 EV. That sounds kind of good, you know, to an average person who makes, let's say, to an average household, let's say, I think they make about $65,000 to $67,000 a year per household on average, right? A $19,000 EV that's capable of about a shy of 320 miles or something like that. That's a very good price, and it's the size of an SUV. You know, capable of fitting kids. What? Capable of fitting kids in the actual car. You know, it's a multi-use car. Not gonna be bad. It looks stylish. Doesn't run like a piece of shit, and it'll be pretty reliable. And before everybody says, "Oh, well, it's made in China. It's always gonna be bad," motherfucker. Everything's made in fucking China. My camera's made in fucking China, except for the lens. It was made in Taiwan. Ha! Settling geopolitical debuts with Canon. Debuts, fucking retard. God, whatever, you get what I mean. Ha! Settling geopolitical issues with a single camera. Thank you, Canon. But it's, you know, it's just like everything's fucking made there. So, like, yes, some companies will make really bad shit. Some companies will make really quality shit. It's just made there because China has very cheap labor. And yes, that involves sweatshops and all that. But hey, look, capitalism doesn't give a shit. Sorry. At the end of the day, it really doesn't. And that's not me saying I agree with it. That's not me saying I disagree with it. It's just, that's how it is. Don't like it? That's why you push for change. That's why you talk about things like this constantly. But what I'm saying is, the constant shade that is thrown towards China it should be directed primarily towards its government. The people there, some, yes, affected by a lot of propaganda that the CCP and the Chinese government can put out, but the people themselves there, very good, very well-hearted people that really just have their own well-being in mind. At the end of the day, it is not the Chinese people that are out to take your fucking data. It's the CCP that has laws in place to force companies to report all data that is within Chinese domestic companies. And yes, that can lead to propaganda that is personally designed off user data that then can be spread over said platforms that are already popular. Now, how in the fuck are you going to tell me with a straight face that the US isn't doing anything like that? The fucking CIA, I swear, okay, I'm not going to like 100% quote this, and this is me like pulling shit that I kind of remember a while back. So if I am wrong, instantly call me out on this and don't take this at face value, because again, this is a very, very like pokey hold argument or pokey hold point. But I swear I remember something that the CIA had a division that was designed for making propaganda and almost like psyops on social media in particular, and I think it was in 2022 to 2023 span on TikTok, Instagram, and a couple other shorts, a couple other platforms that were introducing shorts, right? That the CIA wanted to, or was it the FBI? Whatever. It's some three-letter agency that ran this. They wanted to run a psyop, pretty much, seeing, hey, can we push more American propaganda? And American propaganda really just involves, you know, like supporting the military-industrial con supporting the military industrial complex, the modern American imperialism, all that. Like I said, like it's just, you cannot tell me with a straight face that the US, as corrupt as the system has become, as much as we've become an oligarchy, mind you, we are no longer like, yes, we are a democracy that is in an oligarchy. Keep that in mind. We are not just a democracy. We're a democracy that is oriented as an oligarchy, meaning the older population has majority of the money. That money will trickle down to the next older population. Depending on where that older population leans, that kind of determines the direction of the that kind of directs the future of the country. But whatever, that's besides the point. So it's just really, really annoying to hear this constant, oh, China's trying to steal your data. This person, they're trying to, ruin America. Motherfucker. America's already is on its way down, and the constant pointing fingers at everybody to blame is going to do nothing. The reason TikTok is being banned and is setting a very dangerous precedent is because the money that's layering most politicians' pockets has to stay American for their point to continue. They would not give a shit if it was American money being laced by Chinese companies, because guess what? At the end of the day, their pockets are filled, yours aren't, and they're taking whatever the fuck they want from you. That's the biggest issue. Because they have to maintain the America First policy by those companies, because those companies are in danger by those Chinese companies, because they quite literally can put them in a very dangerous position. Chinese companies have some great innovation, especially in the tech industry, against most modern American tech industry. Not to say that it's years behind, but there is a very, very prevalent hey, okay, you gotta fisticuffs up, let's get to this. It's just their money has to be layered with American money by American companies to keep the America First policy making sense. The moment a single dollar falls into any politician's pocket that is a Chinese company layering an American dollar, what's going to happen is McCarthyism part 2. And I'm fucking telling you, we're going to be going back to the are you a communist kind of thing? Oh, you support communism kind of deal? I swear to God, see it within the next 1 to 2 years if this president follows a pattern now. If Red Note gets banned, which I don't really think it will, because that'd be just crazy to go after immediately, start a new ban on Red Note. But I do think this is going to get very nasty very quick. And realistically, the only way to go about it is genuine, voice. And I'm not talking yeah, we don't like this, blah, blah, blah. Vote out your politicians that are taking this, and if voting out doesn't work and there's still politicians who are being layered with money from American companies, which nearly all of them are. That's 1776, this bitch, I guess. I don't know what the fuck else we really can do. Not to go into the super cringe, America First, America revolution style thing, but this country was founded on the idea of revolution. Our very basis of freedoms and all sorts were founded off the ideas of revolution. And if those people who cry saying, hey, the idea of, and those exact same people who say, hey, this is really unfair that we're being treated this way, and our own platforms that we really enjoy and connect us around the world to people we would otherwise never know about or never hear from, or experiences we would never know, you're taking that app away from us that has connected the entire world in such a better way because it's owned by the Chinese. But it is genuinely connected the whole world in such an insane way. That it's so funny to me. And it's frustrating too. And then there's people who be like, oh, well, it's because the app is left-leaning. And it's not because the app's fucking political. How the fuck is a social media app going to have a fucking political chart? How the fuck does that make sense? Everybody and anybody's. I've seen right, I've seen left, I've seen up and down. There's no point in saying, oh, it's because the app is left or the app is right. No, what the fuck? No, that's so stupid. They're banning the app because, like I said, the data security issue, and 2, because the American people and people around the world have never been this connected over any sort of social media forum. This is profound to see. From a objective standpoint, there has never been a platform that has this much users across the world and has had this much storm and popularity around it prior to maybe when Facebook was originally released. And even then, Facebook does not have as many users as TikTok. Also, Facebook's algorithm is blatantly about stealing user data. Those motherfuckers have been to court time and time again about that shit. But we haven't banned that shit. You know why? Because it's an American company that layers American pockets. So yeah, I got a little heated and a little off track. Go to Red Note. And also, write your congressman, write your senator, write whoever the fuck. Or start, taking the streets. Or posting or something. Because there's really no point in, complaining if there is no voice. And that's not me shaming the people who have complained and not said anything or have spoken about it publicly or anything like that. I'm just saying, realistically, the way to go about this is make sure there is noise out there. Physical, auditory, something, just tactile. Just put something out there. Because, I have buddies who, I know people who've done TikTok and they're very successful off of it, and it kind of makes them a good amount of income. That income is now going to be yanked away. Just because, stealing your data. It does put people in hard positions, and a lot of people who are content creators on TikTok do get fucked over by that. So yeah, this was a very big tangent from what I originally started off with, but I think it's kind of necessary to make a point. Just people around the world are so wanting to be connected to others around the world just because it lets us grow. And taking that away makes them shrink, makes them fall short of what they can be. And, all that results in is just a weaker society as a whole across the world, not just America. America is just kind of an example of what could happen if you begin to try to close off your own citizens from the rest of the world just because of, not American, circumstances. That's really stupid. So yeah, and again, this is not me taking a political stance. I just think the idea of the app is great because what it is and what it's become and what it used to be has changed dramatically over the years. And taking what it is away from the people is very obviously the rest of the world will still have TikTok. The US, which is 323 million people strong, I think. I want to say maybe a third of that. I think a third of the population would probably use it. I don't know. I'm just taking a rough estimate here. Would be using it. That's 100 million people you will not be able to consistently hear from again on that platform. Just because a couple old folks do not like it. Thanks for watching. Deuces.